Thomas Hobbes in the 17th century, he made a statement. He said life was solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Now, in the 17th century, that was the experience. 300 years later in Nigeria, this is the same experience in Nigeria. Life can be real challenging in my country. And why is it so? In 1999, Nigeria took a big leap. We moved from a military system of government that we have been in for almost 2 decades. We accepted democracy as a form of government, believing that this system is going to lead to development. But this has been a very huge assumption. Well, at the beginning, it led to development. In fact, Nigeria's GDP per capita moved from $484 in 1999 to $2,800 in 2013. And the shocker is here. In 2018, Nigeria's GDP per capita has moved to $2,020. Now, the question you are going to ask is why should it be so? Why should life be challenging and traumatic in Nigeria? Now, why is democracy not delivering gains for this country? And it's not far off. It's just because Nigeria has created a country of two worlds. Think about this. We're in the midst of the pandemic that we have right now. The rich and the politically connected continue to live in an opulent life. Budgets are not cut short. Overhead are not trimmed down. Life continued as it was before the pandemic and as it is right now. Whereas Nigeria had to face cuts in subsidies. So oil prices, fuel prices went up. Electricity tariff went up. There's also food inflation. Nigeria is facing biting food inflation because of the level of insecurity in the country. Now, but the country continued to move on and political decay as if nothing is happening. Recently, a senior official in Nigerian government said something. We might think, oh, what he said was out of, honesty. Yeah, he was honest. But he also showed the insensitive of the political class. In his statement, he said that he did not believe that Nigeria's health system was that bad. Did not believe that it was that terrible. Now, why would you not believe that it was that terrible? Less than 6% of Nigeria's budget gets allocated to health in a country where people are struggling to actually exist. And that is the scenario that we have created in Nigeria around the issues of governance. Now, you think about it. When the pandemic started, people were worried about government were giving them instructions. You need to stay at home. You need to go nowhere. They were giving them all that instruction. And people asked themselves, we are already in the pandemic. This is not just our own pandemic. We have been in poverty, and the poverty that we face, the biting poverty that we face, is our pandemic. Whereas this is the time that the government and the people need to come together. So the people saw the current pandemic as an elite disease. They saw the virus as an elite virus. So what is the problem in here? It was challenging for government to even intervene because Nigeria lacks a comprehensive database of its people. Nigeria even lacks a proper addressing system of its people. And that scenario continued and on and on. Now, while government took up opportunities to say, okay, private sector provide some funding, health sector provide some funding, everybody came together to provide some funding for the relief of people. What we saw was challenging. People began to hoard products within warehouses. In Nigeria, Indomie, which is a popular noodles brand, was kept in warehouses. Rice, Gari, which was a proper staple in Nigeria, was growing mold and products were getting expired. All of these were kept in the warehouses doing nothing. The government didn't share them. In fact, some took the privileged access and used these items for birthday souvenirs. Some used these items as gifts to petty faithfuls. And this was the scenario that in a time of a pandemic, where trust should be engendered between the people and its government, that was the period where trust was broken down. And what's the evidence of that? During the crisis, people found out that most of these items were in warehouses and no one was looking after them. So, when government decided to wrap itself in blackness and they didn't show up the issues to the people took it upon themselves in a very, very staggering way. And they went into the warehouses, carted away all the items, and pocketed it and took it for themselves. And now, the growing mistrust between the people and the government continued unabated. The question is, what should happen at this time? And that's the question that we ask ourselves as people. How can we rebuild trust in Nigeria? But trust is a two-way street. The people must trust their government. And the government has to show trust. It has to show that, yes, we are capable or we are willing to be trustworthy. And I would say we have 4 things that we should. 1, there has to be radical transparency. In an opportunity where there can be much more openness, we have seen government be much more opaque about things. I mean, things were in the warehouse. No one was asking questions. No one was telling the information to the people. We can do more with transparency, with accountability, with openness. There has to be a free flow of information from the people to their government. There has to be mutual understanding about the status of things. What is there to be hidden about governance in Nigeria? You could say, oh, diplomatic codes and maybe defense strategic plans, but the price of a road, the price of a school, the price of a solar lighting, the price for a pack of Indomie to be distributed. What is difficult about that kind of information that it cannot be of common knowledge in Nigeria? Number 2, empathy. Empathy that appears in proximity. The Nigerian government and its people must come together and there must be empathy. The people in public office must show that we understand the pain, we understand the crisis, and we are moving towards resolving this problem. We have had issues of where the gulf between the people keeps expanding because in gated fences, in their policed life, a lot of people in public service actually forget how the people they actually serve, how they really look. They try as much as possible to make the poor invisible. And that is the problem in there. Third one is accountability. Now, it's just not about being open. It's not just about being empathetic and being able to put up smiles and be able to show sympathy, but you must be accountable. Questions will be asked. There must be feedback to the people. There must be answers to the people. And that accountability has to show in a very incredible way. In Nigeria, we try to be transparent, but we are not accountable. The final point is integrity. Now, in a time of a pandemic, in a time where all prices are rising, food inflation is escalating, this is also the time for us to have integrity. This is also the time for the government to show that we can try as much as possible to be more closer and to be more empathetic. But we have not seen that. We have not seen empathy around board. So for me, those 4 things have to stand: transparency, empathy, accountability, and integrity. This is the time to rebuild the Nigerian social contract. A social contract that I pay my taxes. A social contract that when I pay my taxes and when I'm in crisis, I can get support. We did not see that happen in Nigeria on a scale that is useful. And the work I am doing with my different partners like Connected Development and Global Integrity is to track the funds, is to expose that the abuse of resources that are related to COVID-19 and to use that as a springboard to rebuild trust in Nigeria. I will share a story with you about my daughter. Whenever my daughter is at home, I can throw her up 10 times. And in that period, she's excited. She's happy. She's excited I'm throwing her up. And she believes that when I throw her up, I'm going to pick her back. I'm going to hold her. Now, there's a mutual trust that is running between both of us. She knows that I'm looking after her welfare. She knows I really care about her. And so I will not expose her to injury. And that should be the story of Nigeria, where the government and the people work hand in hand. Because if we truly want to have progress, we must understand that trust is the foundational plank. Thank you very, very much.